Unit 9, Personal and Social Well-Being. Write the heading down, then summarize the new words. Cruelty to animals. Physically hurting an animal. Immunization. Injecting an animal to prevent it from catching certain diseases. Neglect. Maltreating or deserting animals. Most children have pets, and it is important to know how to care for them. We should not be cruel towards animals and should report people who are cruel and who hurt animals to the authorities. Abused animals can be cared for in a number of places of safety. We come into contact with people every day. It is important that each person should feel important and special. That is why we should always take the needs and beliefs of other people into consideration. It is always rewarding to do good things for other people. We live in a country with many different cultural groups, and it is therefore important to live and work together as a unit. Our government goes to a lot of trouble to promote nation building and unify nations in that way. It is therefore important to know our national symbols and days and understand what they symbolize. Caring for animals. People have kept animals for hundreds of years. Animals provide us with food, but certain animals also protect us, give us love, and keep us company. Farmers mostly keep animals such as pigs, cattle, and sheep that provide food and an income for the farmers. We also keep animals such as dogs, cats, and horses that we love and take care of. Animals cannot take care of themselves, and therefore they need us to take care of them. Cruelty towards animals. Unfortunately, there are many people who do not care for animals at all and are very cruel towards them. Cruelty can take place in many different ways. If you neglect your animals and leave them without food and water, you are cruel towards them. Animals need to be protected against diseases and must be vaccinated. You also need to ensure that your animal has a clean and hygienic environment. You may never kick or hit an animal. Remember, they cannot protect themselves against you. It is our duty to identify and prosecute people who treat animals badly. Some groups of people organize dogfights, where dogs fight and kill one another. Some businesses and farmers who keep animals for food production treat them very cruelly. These practices must be stopped. Caring for and protecting animals. Animals cannot look after themselves. Therefore, we have to take care of them. Animals do not only need food and water, but also love, attention, and exercise. Let's discuss our duties as owners of pets. Too many kittens and puppies are born without a home to which to go. It is therefore a good idea to talk to your veterinary surgeon about ways in which this situation can be prevented. Regularly wash your dog with dog shampoo to protect him against fleas and ticks. Regularly wash your pet's basket and blanket. Regularly change the cat litter. Ensure that the dog kennel is always clean. Regularly feed your pet fresh, healthy food. Regularly change your pet's water to ensure that it is always fresh. Pick up your pet's feces and keep his environment clean. If you have a horse, you should regularly rub him down. Regularly walk your dog to ensure that he gets enough exercise. Have your pet vaccinated against diseases. Never allow pets to fight. Protect them against sun and rain. Give your pets lots of attention and love. Paste activity and answer your questions. Places of safety for animals. Several organizations offer help to abused and mistreated animals. It is against the law to abuse animals. Therefore, you can report any form of mistreatment to the police. You may also report cases of neglect and abuse to the SPCA, Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. This is a worldwide organization that strives to protect animals against cruelty. Several other organizations and clinics also take care of abused animals. These places offer animals general health care as well as free sterilization. They also try to find good homes for the animals. Your pets deserve the best care possible. Do you have a pet, such as a cat or dog, or would you like to have one? Pets provide friendship, love, and sometimes protection, and can be great playmates. It is important to take good care of them because they cannot find food and water themselves. Animals can get hurt just like you and get hungry and thirsty too. If you have a pet, you must take responsibility for your animal and make sure they have everything they need to be healthy and happy. How do you take care of your pet? Firstly, your pet needs enough healthy food and clean drinking water. If they need food twice a day, check their food and water bowls in the morning when you get up and again in the evening before you go to bed. It is also important to keep your pet's bowls clean so they don't become ill. You would not like it if your mom forgot to feed you dinner and you had to eat on the same dirty plate all week. Your pet needs a kennel or bed where they can sleep. If your pets stay outside, they need a kennel to protect them from wind, rain, cold, and the sun. Wash their blankets and bedding regularly. Groom your pet at least once a week, and if they are very dirty, give them a bath as well. Make sure your pet gets a regular veterinary checkup every 6 months and the vaccinations they need to protect them against disease. You can teach your dog good manners, for example, not to beg for food or jump on people. Take older puppies to a dog park where they can get used to people and dogs. Take some dog treats with you and reward your dog when they obey commands, such as sit or coming when you call. Teach your friends to call your cat and hold out a hand until the cat comes to them. Pick up your cat gently so that you don't scare or hurt it. Some cats like being scratched behind their ears or along their cheeks, and they will start purring to show you how much they like it. Pace this activity and answer the questions. Caring for people. Each person has the need to feel special and loved. Through our behavior, we can make other people feel good or make them sad. People feel good when you listen to them intently and support them in difficult times. It is important to do good things for other people. Take other people's needs and views into consideration. You and your friends rely on one another in good and in bad times. Surely, you would like to know that you could rely on your friends if you have a problem and that you will be able to talk to them about it. You expect them to listen to you and support you. Have you ever been sad if a friend did not listen to you and only talked about him or herself? You could be experiencing a big problem and could be needing your friend's help. One always needs to consider the feelings of others and support their views. Listen carefully when your friend tells you about his or her problem. Consider your friend's emotions and his/her need to talk about it, and show that you are willing to support him or her. If your friend talks to you about something that you disagree with, you could still respect his or her opinion without agreeing with it. If your friend were a true friend, he or she would also respect your opinion. Pace the activity and answer the questions. Communicating your own views and needs without hurting the feelings of others. Of course, you may talk about what you want and express your opinions on matters. Just be aware that you do it in such a way that you consider the needs, feelings, and views of others. There will always be people who differ from you, and you need to respect that. You could only expect people to respect you if you also show them respect. Always keep the following in mind. Do not discuss people on social media. Do not consider the views of other people as stupid and unimportant. Explain to your friend if you do not agree with him or her, or if you do not feel like doing something with him or her. Ways: think before you speak. Do not say something about or to someone if you know it will hurt that person's feelings. Always remember that people will differ from you. Do not insist that you are right. Respect the feelings and views of others. Pace the activity and answer the questions. Doing kind things for others. Doing kind things for others makes you feel good about yourself. Is it not always better to give than to receive? Even a small deed could mean the world to someone else. Concentrate on always being friendly and doing kind things for other people. What could you do to brighten someone's day? Send your friend an encouraging SMS if he or she is going through a difficult time. Help the old lady in the shop by carrying her bags to her car. Help your mom clean the house. Help your dad wash his car. Help your teacher to sweep the classroom. Help your sister or brother with his or her homework. Pace the activity and answer the questions. Treat people with kindness. What do you do when you notice that your friend is worried or sad? Do you say something kind and try to make them feel better? Do you ever make your mom a cup of tea when she comes home from work? Has anyone been kind to you or helped you when you needed it? How did it make you feel? There is an isiZulu saying, "Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu." It means a person is a person through other persons. We are all dependent on others, and we show our humanity by doing good to others. We all live in communities at school and at home that are made up of people, and it is important to be kind and supportive. It not only makes us feel good, but it also makes everyone's lives better and easier. What can you do to help a friend who is sad? Cheer them up with a smile and a hug, or ask them what is wrong and if they want to talk about it. You can tell a joke or make them a card. Your parents work hard to provide you with food and clothes. How do you show them your love and appreciation? Keeping your bedroom and the bathroom neat or making them breakfast in bed on a weekend is a good start. Elderly persons are often lonely. How can you help them? Ask your grandmother to tell you about her childhood. Show her you care by listening and being interested in her life. You can also reach out to people you don't know. If someone trips and falls, help them up. If you see someone being bullied, stand up to the bully or tell someone about it. It is important to look after the poor, sick, and vulnerable in our community. If you live near a hospital or a retirement village, you and your friends can always visit patients or residents who don't have family, take them cards or flowers or read to them. If you live near a children's home, you can collect books and toys to donate. If you love animals, you may want to volunteer at an animal shelter and play with the dogs and cats. Nation building and cultural heritage. Definition of concepts. In South Africa, you find a diversity of cultures: Afrikaners, Zulus, Xhosas, Vendas, Indians, and many more. Our country has 11 official languages. Each group has its own language and does certain things that set them apart from the other groups. Our country is known as the Rainbow Nation. As all the groups live together in one country, they influence one another. To avoid conflict, it is important that we accept one another and all our differences. We should respect the traditions and customs of all groups. One's heritage is the result of your history. It is passed on from one generation to the next. We learn our customs and values from our cultural group and, in turn, we pass them on to our children. It is important that all nations contribute towards building our country so that we could all live in peace and develop our country. Nation building means standing united and proudly as a nation and showing respect and tolerance towards the different cultures, as well as taking part in it. The aim of nation building is: it unifies people of different cultures. People share and enjoy the cultures of others. People remember how others have helped to unify the people of South Africa. It makes you feel proud to be a South African. Pace the activity and answer the questions. How cultural heritage unifies the nation. The government of our country does its best to ensure that our nation can celebrate together. It helps to create a sense of solidarity, togetherness, and pride in our country and its people. Special days called public holidays are celebrated. On these days, schools and businesses are closed and special gatherings take place where people can celebrate. Human Rights Day and Freedom Day are examples of public holidays. There are also days that we celebrate that have not been declared public holidays, but still have a special meaning. An example is Africa Day, held annually on May 25th. This day is not only celebrated in South Africa, but also in other African countries. It celebrates the day in 1963 when all African leaders undertook to work together for peace and harmony in Africa. Another very important day is the annual celebration of Nelson Mandela's birthday on July 18th. We commemorate the 67 years he dedicated to South Africa by giving 67 minutes of our time to any good cause. Nation building helps us to be proud of our country and its people, and national symbols, such as our flag and national days, unify the people of our country. Do some research for visuals and get a few ideas. Then create your own symbol for South Africa for freedom. National symbols and national days in South Africa. A national symbol is unique to a country and reminds one of the history and heritage of the country. These symbols unify the nation and remind them of all the good and bad things in our country's history. Our national flag. Each design and color of the flag has a specific meaning. There is no official symbolism attached to the flag colors. Red, white, and blue are the colors used in previous South African flags. It is used in combination with the colors of the ANC, namely black, yellow, and green. The white shape means that South Africa must take on the future with the different ethnic groups working as one, or that the present and past have become one. Each color means something different to different people. Pace the activity and answer the questions. We are going to look at that national days that we celebrate. Human Rights Day, March 21st. Commemorates the slaughter in Sharpeville in 1960 when the police killed 69 people who were protesting against the passed law. Freedom Day, April 27th. Commemorates the day in 1994 when the first democratic election in our country took place. Youth Day, June 16th. Commemorates the day in 1976 when more than 20,000 pupils in Soweto protested against the Bantu education law. National Women's Day, August 9th. Commemorates the day in 1956 when a large group of women protested against the passbooks that Black people had to carry in those years. Heritage Day, September 24th. It celebrates the cultural heritage of each cultural group. Day of Reconciliation, December 16th. This day we are reminded to forgive one another for the wrongdoings of the past and to stand united as one nation for a new future. Day of Goodwill, December 26th. This day is celebrated on the day after Christmas and emphasizes the love and affection contained in the Christmas message. Our national anthem. The national anthem was written in different languages and represents the different cultures in South Africa. After the elections in 1994, Die Stem van Suid-Afrika, the call of South Africa, could no longer meet the needs of the diverse cultures in the country. On the other hand, Nkosi Cycle, iAfrica, was a freedom song and could not be used on its own. By combining the two songs, however, South Africans realized that it was a song filled with prayers and glory that all could sing together in order to reach a compromise between tradition and reconciliation. Read through the translation of our anthem.
Of the South African national anthem, which will be sung by Taryn Lamb, accompanied by the Tygerberg High School.
We're going to look at the South African emblem. Paste the worksheet and fill in the information as shown on the screen. Listen to the following information. Make sure you understand the meaning of the South African emblem and the different parts. Rising sun. Above the bird is the rising sun, indicating a new beginning and the birth of a new nation. Secretary bird. The secretary bird is the focal point of our coat of arms. It is a bird that kills snakes and symbolizes our protection against people who want to do us harm. The spread wings indicate that our nation can rise up. Protea. Below the bird is the protea, an indigenous flower which represents the beauty of our country. The flower grows in the direction of the sun. This indicates the uniqueness and progress of our nation. Spear and knobkerrie. In the middle is a shield indicating the protection of our existence from generation to generation. On top of it is a spear and knobkerrie. This shows we will fight if we have to, but we prefer peace. They are shown lying down to depict peace. A shield and figures. This shield of peace, which also reminds you of an African drum, symbolizes a nation of people who love their cultures. Inside the shield are two Khoisan people, the first people in South Africa. The figures represent our history and how we honor and respect it. These figures were taken from images on the Linton panel, a world-famous example of South African rock art. The people are portrayed as greeting each other. It represents an individual who meets others and socializes. Ears of wheat. The wheat symbolizes the country's fertility. We grow food and respect the earth. Elephant tusks. The ivory tusks of the African elephant are placed in pairs to represent men and women. They symbolize wisdom, stability, and strength. Motto. The motto of our new coat of arms, written in the Khoisan language, means, "People who are different, come together." We chose an ancient language of our country. This language is now almost extinct because there is no one alive today who speaks it as their first language. It emphasizes the tragedy of millions of people who died over many centuries or people's inhumanity towards one another. By engraving these words, Ku-E/Zara///Ko, on our coat of arms, we commit ourselves to value life, to respect all languages and cultures, and to oppose racism and genocide. National Coat of Arms. South Africa's coat of arms, or state emblem, is the highest visual symbol of the state. National Orders. National orders are the highest awards that a country, through its president, bestows on its citizens and eminent foreign nationals. The president, as the fount of honor in the country, bestows these orders and decorations, assisted by the Director General in the Presidency, who is the Chancellor of National Orders. The Order of Mapungubwe is awarded for excellence and exceptional achievement. The Order of the Baobab is awarded for distinguished service in business and the economy, science, medicine, technological innovation, and community service. The Order of the Companions of, or Tambo, is awarded to heads of state and other dignitaries for promoting peace, cooperation, and friendship towards South Africa. The Order of Luthuli is awarded to South Africans who have made a meaningful contribution to the struggle for democracy, human rights, nation-building, justice and peace, and conflict resolution. The Order of Ikhamanga is awarded for excellence in arts, culture, literature, music, journalism, and sport. The Order of the Mendi Decoration for Bravery is awarded to South African citizens who have performed extraordinary acts of bravery. National Animal. The country's national animal is the springbok, Antodorcas marsupialis, which gets its common name from its characteristic jumping display. It also gives its name to the South African rugby team, fondly known as the Boks. The animal stands 75 centimeters high and weighs about 40 kilograms. The species is found in the Free State, Northwest, and Karoo up to the West Coast. National Bird. The national bird of South Africa is the blue crane, Anthropoides paradisea, the distribution of which is almost entirely restricted to the country. Standing about a meter tall, the bird is a light blue-gray, with a long neck supporting a rather bulbous head, long legs, and elegant wing plumes that sweep to the ground. They are common in the Karoo, but are also seen in the grasslands of KwaZulu-Natal and the Highveld, usually in pairs or small family parties. National flower. The giant or king protea, Protea cineroides, is widely distributed in the southwestern and southern areas of the Western Cape, from the Cedarburg up to just east of Grahamstown. South Africa's national flower is the largest of the proteas, which make up an important part of the Cape Floral region, a major global biodiversity hotspot and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The proteas also give their name to South Africa's national cricket team. National fish. South Africa's national fish is the galjoen, Dicystus capensis. The galjoen was chosen because it is found along the coast from Namibia to Durban and nowhere else in the world, and because of its fighting qualities, abundance, and popularity. It keeps to mostly shallow water, is often found in rough surf, sometimes right next to the shore, and is known to anglers as a game fighter. Galjoen has been declared a protected species to ensure its survival. National tree. The yellowwood family is ancient, having grown in this part of Africa for over 100 million years. The real yellowwood, Podocarpus latifolius, South Africa's national tree, is found from Table Mountain along the southern and eastern Cape Coast, in the ravines of the Drakensberg up to the Soutpansberg and the Blueberg in Limpopo. In forests, the trees can grow up to 40 m in height with the base of the trunk sometimes up to 3 m in diameter. Paste the activity and fill in the information. Use a pencil to draw the pictures. Gender stereotyping, sexism, and abuse. Definition of concepts. Stereotyping is a fixed idea that many people have of a person who falls into a specific group. Stereotyping features in many jokes: the strict teacher, the stupid boxer, or the dumb blonde. Yet we know that blonde ladies are not necessarily stupid. Many of them are very clever. Sexism is a severe form of stereotyping. People are treated unfairly because of their gender. In our society, sexism is especially aimed at women. Women are paid less, even if they do the same work as men. Sexism against men also exists. Men are not supposed to do certain jobs that are mainly done by women, for instance, hairdressing and beauty therapy. In our modern society, many fathers stay at home to take care of the children, while the mothers work and earn a salary. Many people in society still regard this as strange and unacceptable. These people experience discrimination because they swap traditional roles. Effect of stereotyping on personal and social relationships. Children who are only exposed to boy and girl tasks in their homes may struggle later in life to perform certain tasks. Traditionally, boys would help the father with men's work such as mowing the lawn or washing the car. Girls, on the other hand, would help the mother cooking and doing household chores. Our society changes every day, and it is therefore to their benefit to expose children to all types of chores. A boy who only learns to perform male jobs will find it difficult to perform tasks such as cooking, doing the laundry, or taking care of children. Such men will struggle to adapt to modern society, where roles are often swapped. Girls also need to be taught to perform tasks traditionally performed by boys, such as changing a tire or doing general maintenance work in and around the house. Paste the worksheet in your book and answer the questions. Child abuse and dealing with it. The Constitution of South Africa states that no child may perform any work that is not suitable for his or her age, that could harm the child, or that prevents the child from attending school. Unfortunately, many parents are unemployed and force their children to find jobs or to beg. What are my rights and responsibilities as a child? The right to a name and nationality. The right to be taken care of by your parents, caregiver, or family. The right to those things you need to survive. The right to be protected against abuse, neglect, maltreatment, or humiliation. The right not to work, if it means you cannot attend school because of it. The right not to be unfairly or unnecessarily detained by the police. The right to have a legal practitioner assigned to you by the state, at state expense if you need to appear in court. Abuse. Unfortunately, it is especially children's right to freedom from and protection against abuse that is often violated or threatened. Types of abuse. Sexual abuse. Physical abuse. Emotional abuse. Neglect. List of rights and responsibilities. Right to equal treatment. Despite my status, race, or color, I treat others the way I want to be treated. Right to human dignity and respect, showing respect to others in everything you do. Right to life, not endangering my life and body unnecessarily. Right to safety and freedom, being safety conscious and making choices that reflect that. Right to protection against forced labor, to have a profession only from the age of 16. Privacy, respect for the privacy of others and keeping other people's information private. Right to freedom of religion, respect for other people's faith and religion. Right to freedom of speech, practicing your own principles and living your life accordingly. Right to education, developing physically and mentally. Right to access to health care, food, and water, using medical services, food, and water responsibly. Right to social services, making use of childline services and the services of psychologists. Right to a safe and hygienic environment, living in a safe, clean home, and helping to keep my house clean. Children are regarded as a vulnerable group whose rights are easily violated. Children's rights have therefore been formulated to ensure on all levels that children are able to become strong, independent, and responsible citizens of our country. Where can you get help? Call the Childline on 08000 55555 or the police on 10111. Pace the activity and answer the questions. Treat people as you would like to be treated. You have probably heard the expression treat others as you would have them treat you somewhere before. Do you understand what that means in your everyday life? Stereotyping, sexism, and abuse are very serious words, but let us first look at what they mean. Stereotyping is a known public belief about a certain group or an individual, or when people say, they're all alike. This means that people believe something about others without having any proof that it is true. There are stereotypes about certain cultures which include incorrect and unfair perceptions about people from those cultures. For example, if you watch the news regularly, you would have seen there is a very big problem with refugees fleeing their countries due to war, famine, or economic reasons. Many people believe these refugees to be criminals or lazy, and that they want to enter other countries illegally. That is a very negative stereotype, because we simply do not know all the facts. Stereotypes can lead to people not helping others, ignoring them, and not treating them as equals. Not only are stereotypes inaccurate and offensive, but they are also boring. Do not be the one to treat everyone from a group the same because your friends say so, or because you saw something on television. Think for yourself. Is it fair? Do I have proof? Does it matter? But most importantly, how would I feel if it were me being treated that way? Sexism can also be called gender stereotyping. This has been around for a long time, and although society has made good progress in eliminating some of these assumptions, we still have a lot of work to do to make sure everyone is treated as equals. Have you once or twice caught yourself thinking that girls are not as strong as boys, or boys who like to read are nerds? That is gender stereotyping, and although we sometimes cannot help what we think or feel, it is wrong to say it aloud and make others feel inferior. Stereotyping can lead to abuse and bullying. People who believe stereotypes and inaccurate information about others can cause fear. It creates an environment where people are scared to speak out and be themselves. Abuse can be physical, emotional, or verbal. Remember, you do not necessarily have to physically hurt someone for it to be abuse. Words are weapons, and they can cause just as much harm. Telling someone they are stupid, ugly, or fat is abuse, and even if you are joking, it might not be funny to the other person. Hiding behind your laptop or phone and sharing memes, photos, and messages about someone that may hurt them is abuse. Our Bill of Rights protects the rights of every South African, and especially our right to be treated equally. No one may discriminate against you based on your race, gender, sex, marital status, ethnic or social origin, color, sexual orientation, age, disability, religion, conscience, belief, culture, language, or birth, among others. Everyone has inherent dignity and the right to have their dignity respected. Dimensions. Each object has 3 dimensions, namely height, width, and depth. A drawing on a flat surface is 2-dimensional and only shows width and height. Portrait. A painting of a person's head, neck, and shoulders. Profile. A person seen from the side. Texture. What the surface of an object feels like. Many artists paint people's faces as well as their own. This is known as portraits and self-portraits. We are able to learn a lot about the artist by looking at the portraits. You will also be making a self-portrait. A portrait could be made in different ways, for instance by using materials such as clay and stone. This is known as statues. You will create a statue using potter's clay. Over the ages, several artists have painted people's portraits. Some people were famous and others were unknown. Many portraits were also painted in profile. In other words, the person was painted from the side. During the early ages, cameras did not exist, and therefore important people had portraits done of themselves and their families to immortalize their faces. That is how, today, we know what many of these people looked like. Some artists also painted self-portraits. They captured their own faces on cloth. Famous artists like Van Gogh and Rembrandt van Rijn are known for their self-portraits. We are able to learn a lot about the artist by looking at her self-portrait. Van Gogh painted himself in different stages of his life, showing us how he deteriorated mentally. Activity 118. Let's look at the portraits together. 1. Which paintings are self-portraits? Before you answer this question, you need to remember the difference between a portrait and a self-portrait. A portrait is an artwork of another person. A self-portrait is an artwork that an artist makes of himself or herself. So, when you look at each painting, ask yourself, is the person in this painting also the artist who painted it? Look carefully at the names underneath the paintings. Vincent van Gogh painted himself, so his painting is a self-portrait. Rembrandt van Rijn also painted himself, so his painting is a self-portrait too. Now look at Chrissy by Debbie Miller. Debbie Miller is the artist, but Chrissy is the person in the painting. That means it is a portrait, not a self-portrait. The same applies to Young Woman by Jorge Federico. Artists make self-portraits for many reasons. They may want to show us what they looked like, how they were feeling, or what was happening in their lives at that time. 2. Which of the paintings have some kind of background? Now look behind each person in the paintings. Everything you see behind the person is called the background. A background does not have to show a house, trees, or scenery. It can simply be a color, a pattern, brushstrokes, shadows, or different textures. Look at Van Gogh's portrait. You can clearly see colorful brushstrokes behind him. Rembrandt has a very dark background. Chrissy also has a colorful, textured background. The Young Woman has a simpler, darker background. As you look at the backgrounds, think about how they affect the portrait. Does the background make the person stand out? Does it make the painting look calm, bright, dark, or exciting? 3. Which painting was done in profile? The word profile means that you see a person from the side. Imagine that you are looking straight at me. You can see both sides of my face. Now imagine that I turn my head completely to the side. You would mainly see the outline of my forehead, nose, lips, and chin. You would usually see only one eye clearly. That is a profile. Look at the 4 paintings and find the person whose face is shown from the side. That is the painting that was done in profile. 4. In which painting or paintings does the person look straight ahead? For this question, look carefully at the person's eyes. Ask yourself, does it look as if this person is looking at me? The person's head does not always have to be completely straight. Sometimes the head may be turned slightly, but the eyes can still look towards you. Compare the 4 paintings and decide which people appear to be looking straight at you. 5. Are the paintings balanced? Now we're going to think about balance in art. Balance does not mean that both sides of a painting have to look exactly the same. Think about a seesaw. If everything heavy is on one side, the seesaw will feel uneven. A painting can feel the same way. If everything important is crowded onto one side and the other side is completely empty, the picture may feel unbalanced. Artists create balance by thinking carefully about where they place the person, how much empty space there is, where the light and dark areas are, and how they use color and shapes. Look at each portrait. Imagine drawing a line down the middle of the painting. Does the picture feel comfortable and stable? Does one side seem much heavier or busier than the other? Is the person placed well inside the picture? Remember, a balanced painting does not have to look the same on both sides. The different parts simply need to work well together. When you answer, try not to write only yes or no. You could say, yes, I think the painting is balanced because, and then explain what you noticed. 6. Are any of the paintings symmetrical? Now, let's look at symmetry. Symmetry and balance are not the same thing. Something is symmetrical when the 2 sides are the same or almost the same, like a mirror image. Think about a butterfly. If you draw a line down the middle of a butterfly, the wings on the left and right are very similar. Now imagine drawing a line straight down the middle of each portrait. Ask yourself, if I folded this picture along that line, would the 2 sides match? A face looking straight ahead may look more symmetrical because you can see an eye on each side of the nose and an ear on each side of the head. But if a person turns their head, one side will look very different from the other. Remember this important difference. Symmetrical means the 2 sides are similar. Balanced means the whole picture feels stable and well-arranged. A painting can be balanced without being symmetrical. 7. Which painting is your favorite? Why? This question is about your own opinion, so there is no wrong answer. Choose the painting that you like the most. Then tell me why you like it. You might like the colors, the background, the person's expression, the brushstrokes, the realistic style, or the way the artist painted the face. Do not just say, I like Van Gogh. Try to explain your choice. For example, my favorite is Vincent van Gogh's self-portrait because I like the bright colors and the interesting brushstrokes. Portraits are not always drawn or painted. They can also be done in other ways. A statue is a 3D image of an animal or person, created out of materials such as clay, metal, or stone. A statue is usually very big and shows height, width, and depth. It can also be viewed from all sides. The statue is usually mounted on a base on which it stands. Activity 119. Let's look at the statues together. Question 1. Which statues tell us something about the history of our country? For this question, I want you to think about what a statue can tell us about the past. Statues are sometimes created to remember important people, events, or groups of people. Look carefully at the 4 statues. Ask yourself, does this statue represent a real person or something important from South Africa's past? A statue of an important leader or a soldier, for example, may tell us something about our country's history. The buck and dolphins are animals, so think about whether they are showing history or whether they have been created mainly as artworks. Look at each statue and decide which ones help us remember people or events from the past. Question 2. Which statue was unveiled in 2014? This question is asking you to find a specific piece of information. You do not need to study the shape or design of the statues for this one. Look carefully at the information underneath each picture. Find the statue that has the words "unveiled in 2014" underneath it. That will give you your answer. Question 3. How many buck form part of the statue? Is it 1 statue or 2 detached statues? First, count the buck that you can see. Then look more carefully at how they have been constructed. Are the animals joined together as part of one sculpture, perhaps by the rocks or the base underneath them? Or are they completely separate sculptures standing apart from each other? This question is teaching you that a single statue or sculpture can contain more than one figure. Several animals can be joined together to create one complete artwork. Look at the base and the places where the figures connect before you decide. Question 4. How many dolphins form part of the statue? Is it 1 statue or 2 detached statues? Use the same idea here. Start by counting the dolphins. Then ask yourself whether each dolphin is a completely separate statue or whether the dolphins and the waves underneath them are all connected to form one sculpture. When different figures are physically connected and work together as one design, we usually look at them as one complete sculpture. So, do not simply count the animals. Look at how the whole artwork has been put together. Question 5. Which part of the soldier's statue is longer than the base? Which feeling is created by this technique? Now I want you to look carefully at the soldier and then look at the base underneath him. Remember that the base is the solid platform on which the statue stands. Look for a part of the soldier or something he is holding that stretches beyond the width or edge of that base. Pay particular attention to the long object the soldier is holding. Then think about why an artist might do this. If everything fitted neatly inside the base, the statue might feel very still and contained. When part of the sculpture stretches beyond the base, it can create a stronger feeling of movement, action, energy, or drama. It can make the figure seem as though it is moving out into the space around it. So, for the second part of your answer, do not only describe what you see. Explain how it makes the statue feel. Question 6. In your opinion, what are most of the statues made from? The words, in your opinion, are important here. You are being asked to use visual clues to make a sensible guess. Look at the surfaces of the statues. Do they look like stone, wood, clay, or metal? Look for clues such as color, shine, smoothness, and texture. Many outdoor statues are made from metal because it is strong and can last for a long time. Bronze, for example, can become brown, dark, or even greenish as it ages. You do not necessarily need to know the exact material. Explain what you think most of the statues are made from based on what you can see. Question 7. Do the statues seem balanced? This question is about balance in 3-dimensional art. When you look at a statue, imagine where its weight is. Does it look stable, or does it look as though it might fall over? Look at the base first. Is it large and strong enough to support the sculpture above it? Then look at how the different parts are arranged. But balance is not only about whether a statue can physically stand up. There is also visual balance. Imagine an invisible line running down the center of the statue. Are all the large, heavy-looking shapes on one side, or have the shapes been arranged so that the whole sculpture feels comfortable and stable? A sculpture does not have to be symmetrical to be balanced. One side might have a large figure while the other side has a smaller figure or an extended shape that creates enough visual weight to balance it. The dolphins, for example, may curve and move in different directions, yet the complete arrangement can still feel balanced. So, when you answer, try not to write only yes. You could explain your thinking by saying something like, I think the statue is balanced because the figures and shapes are arranged evenly around the base. Question 8. Which statue is your favorite? Why? This is your personal opinion, so there is no single correct answer. Choose the statue that interests you the most, and then explain why. You might like its subject, the way the figures are positioned, the amount of detail, the sense of movement, the material, or the feelings it creates. The important part is the word why. Give a reason for your choice instead of only naming the statue. Create in 2D. A portrait is a sketch of people or animals. It takes a long time for the artist to plan and paint the portrait. The artist has to plan it well and draw it carefully to make it look lifelike. The artist has to study the person or animal in detail, shape, line, and color. Self-portraits are drawings that a person makes of him or herself. When making a self-portrait, the artist studies the following characteristics of his/her face: shape of eyes and the line formed by the eyes. The space between the eyes. Where are the ears? Above or below the eyes. The length of the nose. The shape of the mouth and how it changes when showing emotion. Paste the activity and draw as per the instructions. Choose any object that you could draw, such as shoes. It is interesting to draw shoes. However, you may choose any object you like. Follow the next steps in order to observe the object before you start drawing it. Carefully look at the shoe, the shape, the heel, and the laces. What is the color of the shoe? How does it feel, the texture, and how can I show texture in my sketch? Do you see any other detail on the shoe? How does the light fall on the shoe? How could you draw shadows? Paste the activity and draw the object. Design in 3D. Dimensions. Each object has 3 dimensions: height, width, and depth. In other words, the object takes up space. C. Texture. What the object looks and feels like. It is important to indicate in the model what the texture of your object is. Color. Is the color uniform or are there shadows and fluctuations in the color?
R.
Shape. You need to study the shape of your object in order to portray it. Read through the next few images.